Hello and welcome, I'm Tewodros Dawit. In the next few years, the number of airports in this country will reach 25. It's a very expensive business, but that's what needs to be done, says my guest today, the CEO of Ethiopian Airports Enterprises, Tewodros Dawit. Well, how are locations identified and standards developed? Tewodros Dawit, a very warm welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Tewodros.
The Ethiopian Airports Enterprise, the subject of our discussion today, the enterprise that you run, you manage, is a very old institution, but it came into the picture as an enterprise. When was it? About 13, 14 years ago?
Yeah, the Ethiopian Airports Enterprise was established as a separate entity. And now it's almost 14 years since it is established as a business enterprise. But, the airports were there for years and under the Ethiopian Civil Aviation Authority. So the airport, as an airport, if you take it, the service is more than 7 years, even before the Ethiopian Airlines was established.
So for many years, the regulatory body, the Ethiopian Civil Aviation Authority, and your institution, the service-providing institutions, as far as airports are concerned, were lumped together for many, many, many years.
Right. So under the same entity, the Ethiopian Civil Aviation Authority was responsible both for the regulatory aspect and for the service aspect. So the government decided to separate both the service and the regulation. Then that's how the Ethiopian Airports Enterprise was established.
So your job is basically to build airports, right?
Correct. So Ethiopian Airports Enterprise is basically responsible for two main tasks. One is airport infrastructure development, and the second is airport administration, which is basically airport services.
The management part of it is also yours. Right. You don't outsource it, do you?
Yes, we have companies working with us. We give some tasks to outsource.
Like what?
Like cleaning, for example.
Well, that's not outsourcing. I know that's what every institution does, but I'm thinking about much bigger scale. I mean,
right.
The management part is a tricky part, right?
Right. So the management part, when we talk about airports, is a combination of many components, and so many agencies are working together with us. But, there are some specific tasks given to each institution. For example, the security aspect is being operated in service by NIS. And the
NIS is a National
Intelligence Service is managing the security service part. And the airport is responsible to have all the equipments and systems on the airport necessary for the service, everything, the service quality, be it security adherences, and we are basically doing this together. And there are also, the Ethiopian Civil Aviation is still working with us to make sure things are done in a very appropriate with the passengers. The safety-wise is so much internationally regulated and nationally as well. There are some other agencies working with the airport to make the service ready and very, very global standard.
You have, of course, Bole, Addis Ababa Bole International Airport, and we'll come back to that later on in the program. But how many airports do you administer now?
Currently, we have 20 airports operational right now. And at the end of GTP2, the second growth and transformation plan, we'll have 25 airports operational.
That means in the 3 years left, you'll be...
There are some airports under construction. We will be ready for operation after 3 years, so 3 years or so. So we will be having 25 airports, standard airports, under our administration. So
what you do is basically you build the terminals, right, and also the runways, right?
Not only terminals and runways, there are also other ancillary equipments and systems that we are supposed to supply and install at airports. When we say airport, is a combination of many things. We have the runway, of course, and we have the terminals, and there are also so many electromechanical equipments and systems, navigational aids which support the aircrafts to land and take off safely. So these are part of our responsibility.
So you said you have 20 airports now across the country, and 4 are in the pipeline.
Right.
And okay.
5, yeah.
And I thought Hausa was done recently, right? And it's not finished yet.
Actually, the airfield was finished.
But the
terminal is under construction right now.
So you don't say you have an airport unless a terminal and both of them.
When you are going to say a full airport, it must have both the runway and the terminal, and of course there are some also basic requirements to be fulfilled. But if you have only a runway, you can only call it an airfield. Or something like that. So to call it an airport, we need to complete those things.
Same thing in Samara in the Afar regional state, right?
Definitely. We have almost done with the runway now, and the runway is almost finished while it is operational. We didn't want to interrupt the service, and we are doing the operation and the construction parallelly. And the terminal is also now undergoing, and it will be finished in maybe 6 months from now.
How many international airports do we have?
We do have 4 international airports.
Including Addis Ababa?
This is our main hub, obviously, but we have an old international airport, Tewodros, as you know. Mekelle and Bahar Dar are also international airports. But Mekelle and Bahar Dar are not serving too much international flights right now because of the economic demand and the interest that is not developed very much.
Can international flights be handled by those international airports at any given period in time, or you need to go through lots of processes, permissions, and so on?
By definition, there are 4 are supposed to serve any international flight anytime.
Are they?
But, the problem is when it comes to practice, because of the absence of the international frequent service to those airports, especially to Bahar Dar and Mekelle, we are currently serving under request because we cannot 24-hour mobilization of people and mobilization of personnel from different institutions is very mandatory to serve international flights.
Oh, so requests need to be filed. How well ahead in time should they be filed?
So you have to file your request ahead of time. Maybe 2-3 days is enough, but a week time is more convenient for everybody to be comfortable. So when it comes to practice, there are some inconveniences in smoothly operating the international service because we don't have the continuous services to both airports.
Do you feel there is an urgency to build more airports, more than the 25 that you're going to have in the next 3 to 4 years?
Well, I can say if we are done with these 25 airports or a little bit more, maybe we will have sufficient distribution of airports across the nation. And what we need after that is small airfields, not airports. We have to cover the whole geographic map should be covered. Air transportation is very critically becoming a very critical element of transportation, and the demand is growing everywhere. So if we are having these 25 airports, it will be fairly enough, but still the demand is growing in every corridor, so that we'll have small airstrips and will feed those major airports through those airstrips. So the strategy will be a little bit changed. We'll be focusing on developing more airstrips than airports, because airport is very expensive infrastructure. We cannot have airport everywhere, but still we can access some areas through simple runways, airstrips, only capable of accommodating light aircrafts.
Yes, it's costly, but where do you get the finance?
So far, especially the regional development is financed through the government and through the customers, through the airport itself. So basically, the government is financing the national distribution of airport infrastructure development. But now, especially Addis, our main hub, is being massively expanded, as you might have seen, and the finance was secured from Chinese Exim Bank, and for the first time we are having, since the enterprise was established, a foreign financing for the expansion of Addis.
So how do you pick locations for the construction of airports and terminals? What are the things that you need to look into before you decide?
Yeah, there are so many criteria that that need to be considered, but the basic one is the demand. When you say demand, we need to have the tourism, the trade, investment potential of that particular site, and the accessibility or the distance from the center is very, very important. The distance from Addis, for instance, to address remote locations is one factor, and the potential of that particular site is another. And tourism is this basic four elements are number.
Is there a demand coming from the regional governments?
Yeah, there is a big push from every regional government. So we are trying to balance those demands with the actual user or operator demand. For example, you cannot have an airport if the actual user is not there. So we are trying to analyze if the demands coming from the region are actually feasible or not. So, but there are a lot of pushes from regional governments.
It's massive expansion work going on. Lots of things that you can talk about the challenges that the airport is facing. How fast are you going to complete this expansion work that you have embarked upon? When was it? About a year ago.
You know,
what does it entail?
Actually, we are now running to finish it in 1 year time from now. Actually, the massive expansion was driven by the extraordinarily increasing demand of air traffic transport in Addis and Ethiopia in general. 10 years before, as you may remember, the new terminal, the existing terminal was operational in 2003, and it's only 15 years old now. It was supposed to serve 20 years without any problem. The forecast was this terminal was sufficient to accommodate 6 million passengers, and these 6 million passengers we were supposed to meet it in 2025. But you know, today we are already 9.6 million passengers per year. We are serving close to 10 million right now. So the congestion and the service drawback basically comes from this kind of incompatibility between the originally forecasted traffic demand and the actual we are serving today. So we were supposed to rush for another massive expansion, and that's why we are trying to do it very, very urgently.
And you're looking forward to building a new terminal, a new airport, right? Obviously outside of Addis.
Basically, it's not the terminal. It's the one we are trying to develop is a major airport and aviation hub, not a terminal, not a runway. It will be a new airport with a lot of other ancillary facilities, and it will be basically an airport city. That's the plan, that's the vision, yeah.
Where does it stand today?
Yeah, regarding this new airport development, we have had an international consultant to identify the best location, and we have almost done this some 8-9 months before. So now we are waiting for the final approval based on the proposed sites from the government. So once this go ahead is secured, we'll proceed to the next master planning and development phase.
What is your institution like? I'm talking about your employees. I'm talking about trained manpower that you need to have, because this is a fast-changing industry.
Yeah. Now, since the airport was established, we have come through a long process to bring it to a global standard business institution. So today, we say basically we are in a very good shape, and we are trying to make the institution a very employee-friendly institution. But still, we have major challenges regarding securing very prominent and skilled manpower, and to attract from the market the best professionals. So
because that's very important.
Yeah. This is as expected, a common problem for every institution in this country. So we share this kind of challenge, but we have come through so many packages, and improvements in our career structure, in the incentive mechanisms, so that we'll have very reasonable.
Which means, are you now able to maintain a steady?
Now, we can say that since the last 4-5 years now, we have become more and more stable. But before that, we used to have such kind of challenge and fast turnover of management and skilled professionals. So that was a major challenge. But now we are overcoming those kind of problems.
Where do you put yourself in the whole African aviation thing?
Ethiopia, we are in a very ideal position for aviation. Air transport is very critical, becoming very critical, especially these days, both for passenger cargo. And we are located in a very strategic location to tap this kind of growing, very fast growing, even globally, industry. We are trying to tap that kind of this potential is growing very fast. So we can say today we are in a better position. As you know already, we are leading the continent as we have a very strong national carrier. Ethiopian Airlines is leading in terms of the service side. The airline, Ethiopian Airlines is number one in terms of profitability, in terms of size today in Africa. So this is giving us more and more energy to even expand our infrastructures and develop the whole industry. As it gives us a very good opportunity for further development. So when we say we are going to develop a major aviation hub, this is a very important input. We need to have a very strong national carrier that will bring passengers from all over the globe and distribute to the rest of the world. So this is a very important component that we have to develop and strengthen further. And today we are focusing both on developing this and improving the services, and also we are expanding accessibility to the regions. This will have a combined effect to boost the industry as a whole. So we are taking this as a very important opportunity to further develop the industry in the country.
You better do, because you have very serious critics coming out of there,
That's for sure. The critics is coming basically from the service quality. We have to focus on the quality of the services. This basically is correlated with two things. One, the very nature of space limitation and congestion of the terminal and the airport itself, as the demand and the traffic is not in line with the infrastructure itself. Second, important is the service quality rendering and the mentality, the staff, and the coordination with other stakeholders in terms of global airport management is lacking behind the standard. So we are thoroughly tackling these issues together, and will definitely overcome this in a very short period of time.
Well, good luck, and thank you very much indeed, Tewodros. It was a pleasure having you, myself.
Thank you very much.